What's going on, Blue Coats fans? I'm Matt Murphy with your Delaware Blue Coats schedule at a glance. Coming up next for the Blue Coats on the schedule is a game on Friday, December 27th, when they play host to the newest G League team, the College Park Skyhawks. That's the G League affiliate of the Atlanta Hawks. That game is two-way night, and tickets are almost gone. So if you haven't gotten yours yet, go to Sixers.com/Bluecoats to secure some tickets, and we will see you at 76ers Fieldhouse in Wilmington. Welcome in to the first episode of the Blue Coats Beat on DETV. I'm Matt Murphy alongside Blue Coats Ambassador of Basketball Joe Richmond and Blue Coats Team President Larry Meli. It's the first episode, guys, and we're starting it off with a bang, Joe. We've got the President, Larry's here joining us, and we're going to get into a whole bunch today. We're going to talk about Blue Coats off the court and in the community, and these are going to be some themes that carry this show throughout the season here on DETV, and we're happy to bring it to you. But on the court stuff as well, maybe we'll squeeze some in because there's plenty to talk about there with how the Blue Coats are performing right now, 10 wins, but that'll be a little bit later on in the show, and we're happy to have Larry here. So we'll jump right in with Coats in the community because there's a lot to talk about there.
Yes.
Books and basketball is a program that you obviously both know a ton about, and we're going to pick Joe's brain because he's out in the streets for us all the time. But Larry, I'm going to start with you. This is a program, Books and Basketball, that has been around since the inception of the Delaware franchise. How did it come about, and what are some details regarding the Books and Basketball program?
First of all, it's an honor to be the first guest on the Blue Coats Beat.
We went down the list.
I know. You really went far down.
Yeah, Doc was not available. So
yeah, right. And about 12 other people. So when we started, obviously when we came into Delaware, there was a few goals that we had, and one was to get into this community. And we learned with one of our partners, the Moore's Children's Hospital, that one of the most visited parts of their website is on literacy. And it's the #1 predictor of adult health status. And we just felt like, okay, this is what we want to hang our hat on and help these kids get reading on grade level by 3rd grade. And that's really kind of how everything started.
And Joe, you and Aris Watson are kind of leading the charge with our team in the community, doing a great job as always. What are some of your most memorable moments from Books and Basketball when you guys have been out there visiting hundreds of schools over the years?
Well, that's going to be second till the day because you did all this without no teleprompter. I'm blown away. But, we've been to hundreds of schools throughout the Delaware area and most the target, Wilmington in itself. But I think one of the biggest, and we've done had from Christian Woods to Haywood Highsmith to Shake Mill, and we've had a bunch of guys out there reading to the kids. Jared Brownridge has always been a great guy. Mike Bryson, his energy has been crazy. But I think the biggest highlight was at Bancroft Elementary School, downtown Wilmington, and our newly minted at that time general manager, the one and only Elton Brand, he just surprised us. I guess somebody let him know what we were doing in the community. He wanted to be there, and it was like nothing else. The look on the player's face. We had teachers just coming. Teachers that wasn't even assigned just showed up with more kids. And as the players have always read to the kids, Elton, as he was talking about some of his memorable moments, how his mother read and how he had a library teacher that he was cool with when he was back in school because he would play and sometimes he needed to relax and he would go to the library and chill there. And he read to the kids. And I mean, you could hear a pin drop. You can literally hear a pin drop. But my most personable, for me, Joe Richmond, my most personal moment was we did an event at the Moore's Hospital in the atrium. And they had the kids come down, and they had the bean bags on the floor, just throw it out there. And to see these kids come in, and they've been through some treatments and some challenges, and their parents who's probably been there with them, sleeping in those rooms with their kids. And I read Clifford the Big Red Dog. And it was just, oh, man. And you know what? Kids are so honest, Larry, because I don't know none of the kids. They don't give me a list. They don't tell me none of their sickness. They don't tell me anything that's going on with the kids. But as I'm reading to the kids, the one little boy comes and sits like right up underneath me. And at that moment, you try not to get off track, and I'm still reading. But it was just so surreal that this is how the impact of what we actually do. Because you really don't see it. Because you give the books and you keep going class to class. Right. But to see that happen, it just blew me away.
Larry, how have you seen the program grow over the years?
Well, I mean, look, we've given away in just the last 3 years 45,000 books. So,
Wow.
and especially to
Wow.
kids, what I have learned more than anything is that some of these kids don't even have a book at home, and so the fact that we can come in with Nemours, provide these kids a book, and what we've learned is that some of these kids are learning to read, and then they're helping their sibling or even maybe their parent
It's so
how to
true.
read. And so I think for me, just watching that growth, watching people like Joe who goes into these schools every day, and talking to the principals and just knowing what they're trying to do. I mean, some of these kids are just trying to survive, and know that we could be a small part to help them, give them hope. I think is really kind of what has been key. And you had mentioned about my family wasn't the Moores family.
Wow.
So knowing that, like those little things, like for adults are a lot more complicated, but
Right.
kids just want to feel better, right?
Yes.
And when they have an opportunity to do something that's kind of unique and fun, and that's all they want to do. And I think that's why, those moments for you, Joe, I think are probably magnified because you're making a difference in a kid's life. in
Most
that moment.
definitely.
Yeah.
And we'll shift gears here in a moment from coats in the community to some on-the-court things, as I mentioned. But, Joe, one of the hashtags that we use in the community is basketball has power. That's different from Join the Revolution, which is on a lot of our branding, but basketball has power. So what does that phrase, that hashtag mean to you?
And it does, because as Larry alluded, I make no excuse. I came from the hood. I came from the projects. I came from roaches in my cereal box. And, it's 6 of us. I'm the youngest out of 6 boys. And I still have 1 sister, so it's 7 of us collectively. And my older brother is the one that put that thing right there, that basketball in my hand. And it kept us from the gangs. It kept us from, we used to have a church that they ran a basketball league, and all you had to do was, we used to go sleep in church, but you had to go to church to play in the league. And it was just, everybody played in it, but it was the best thing. And when me and my brother Mike, who I talk about a lot, we won our first trophy, and they were basketballs on a base, little trophies. And to see my mom put them up on a mantelpiece was amazing, but that's the power of it. Who would have thought that basketball would take me out of the projects of Philadelphia? And the team that I love with all my heart, the Philadelphia 76ers, that the day I'll be sitting here working for the Philadelphia 76ers assigned to the Delaware Bluecoats. And if that when I tell that story, it just it transcends so much mess that I've watched in my neighborhood, and the power that we've had as the Bluecoats. I know a lot of guys in our organization don't see it, but man, I see it every day. And I went to a basketball to watch some 4- and 6-year-old championships over at NBN Academy, and to watch all those little kids run up to me, high-fiving me. It's just like, and the little kid at St. Thomas and Thomas Edison Elementary the other day, he was like, yo, Bluecoats. And I'm just like, yo, like, how does this little 7-year-old kid? And it's just amazing. You go to, and you see the difference the kids got on our shirts. And I'm like, man, if you don't think that this thing has power, come on. Matt, I came out of the projects, and I done been all over the world because of basketball. I was in the Navy, but I did not travel all over the world in the Navy. But because of basketball, I travel all over the world. And when that phrase was going, basketball has power, I was like, wow, I use that everywhere I go and everything I do.
And a phrase, Larry, that I've associated with you, or I read that you said years ago, is you wanted to see progress every day, every year, not only on the court in the business, but also progress in the community. So is that something that you still think about? Because I know that an article was written years ago, and you had mentioned that.
Yeah.
But is that something that you still think about daily?
Absolutely. I mean, actually, it's advice that I got from Scott O'Neill, the Sixers CEO. I mean, he said to me when I first came to Delaware, progress matters. And whatever part of the business you're in, or in your life, or in our community engagement, it's just progress matters. Like making sure that you continue to evolve and that you're making a difference in a kid's life. You don't know the moment you could have changed someone's life. Like you were talking about that trophy, like the sense of pride that you talked about when you were telling that story, like that's what it is for some of these kids. And, I remember, and I talk about this all the time, the first memory of going to a sporting event and the impact it has on you, because it's just so much larger than life when you walk out and see that court And some kids, they don't get to a Sixers game, but they're going to get to a Blue Coats game. And it may be their first experience ever. And they see the guys down there working hard and all like the life lessons you can take from sports. And knowing that moment probably is going to transform that kid.
Yes, it will.
And who knows what path it'll take them on. Whether it's someone like me, there wasn't a lot of 5'8" Italians in the NBA. But I knew I wanted to be around sports, and I knew I wanted to know that the experience and the memory I had with my dad going to the first game has carried me my whole life, and that's why I'm sitting here.
Well, as we wind down the inaugural episode of the Blue Coats Beat, I want to do so with some final thoughts on the court because, as I mentioned, the Blue Coats 10-4 on a 7-game win streak, a franchise record, and
yes.
We have plenty of time to talk about the on-the-court stuff throughout the year here on DETV. But let's just get some final thoughts there because they're playing great, and it goes into everything. It goes into the experience at 76ers Fieldhouse when you get there and seeing a basketball game maybe for the first time. It's an exciting brand of basketball, and it's an exciting team this season.
Unreal. You start with
what
Larry.
stood out so far, Joe? I'm starting with you. What has stood out to you guys with this team on the court? Because we've had a number of Sixers players assigned. We have two-way players, Norvell Pell and Mariel Shayok, and everybody's putting up numbers, and the team is winning games under second-year head coach Connor Johnson.
Yeah, look, for me, just to see how this has culminated, like over the last 7 years, we started with having guys like Baron Davis and Nate Robinson, and like guys that maybe just were looking for a second chance, but weren't part of like the development process for the Sixers. And now you look at it, and we have Norvell Pell and Shayok and Zaire Smith playing with us, Jonah Bolden. Like, these are all guys that are going to have an impact on the Sixers at some point this season or in the future, but they're getting their feet and their teeth cut here to develop their game and work on their craft. And obviously they're talented, so the team now has certainly come together, and I can't believe we're 10-4. It's awesome.
I think that says a lot, Joe, about the growth of not only the Blue Coats organization, but the league as well. We had a team coming to Mexico City in the 2020 season, so I think NBA teams are recognizing, that, and the Sixers included, that this is a place for their guys to develop, and we've seen it in this 10-4 start.
But the main thing is everybody is a part of it. You, Larry, me, we're all trying to grow, just like the players. We're all trying to get better. Like Larry said, the progress. Then he mentioned players, and you looked at, we had the, you look at Norvell and you look at Shayok, and you look at him and say, man, I remember when Norvell was just a knucklehead running around just happy to be on the team. And now he's developing to a real player. You can see him develop. You can see the immaturity to play, the laughing and joking. He still has some of it, but you can see him developing on the court. And I think it's a testament to the coaching staff as well.
Right.
I think when you put your team together, all the way down to the trainer, all the way down to your interns, and everybody buys in, I think that just resonates all the way up. So now the Jonah Bolden, who was with the Sixers, he's not treating nobody any different. He's talking, he's laughing, he's joking, he's spending time. And Zaire Smith, who is up there, but they're down here and they're embracing their G League experience. And it watches us all become of their growth, because I know as you do a lot of one-on-one with them and speaking and TV stuff, so you're also helping them, grooming them. And that all plays a part of them being a professional first. Right. And I love it that I always say it with boldness. I love my Sixers, don't get me wrong. But the Delaware, I bleed blue. I love the Delaware Blue Coats. I love what we've done in this community, and I love what we've done in this state. And I know my dad always say a lot of people can talk, but we walk it like we talk it. We didn't say we were going to be in the community. No, it was a demand that we are in the community. And I take my hat off to Aris, who's not here on this segment, for going out, embracing it as well, getting into these classrooms, showing them that we are here for them. And we do a lot of great things, and I'm just so proud to be. I'm so proud. And 10-4, I don't even want to jinx it. I'm just like, man, I just don't want to say the word because I know where I want to go with it. But I like,
guarantee
championship. Yo, playoffs, championship, we right there. We right there, Matt.
Totally agree. And so, as everyone who bleeds blue out there knows, it would be the first playoff appearance in franchise history if they can keep this pace up. It's a long season, and we're excited to bring you the action all year long on DETV, and that's going to do it for the first episode, the inaugural episode of the Blue Coats Beat. Larry, thanks for being here for it. Really appreciate it.
Honor.
The first guest, Larry Meli, and for Joe Richmond as well, and our entire DETV crew, including our producer, Ivan Thomas. I'm Matt Murphy, and we'll talk to you next time on the Blue Coats Beat.